Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. In this tutorial we'll be looking at editing physical movement across the cut. Footage, as always, provided by EditStock.com. Follow the link below to find out more. It's often the case that people new to editing fall into the trap of trying to match physical movement and the placing of physical objects and people across the cut. My advice is we never attempt to do that. As the great editor Sam Osteen once said, I never cut for physical matches, I cut for impact. And he's right. Let's have a look at a simple movement, and I'm going to describe the trap that you can fall into if you try and make things match physically across the edit, and actually what's considered to be good practice when we're trying to get movement to work across the edit. We've got a simple little sequence here, Dr. Clayton on the left and Mary on the right. She has decided to stay in the dentist's office and is about to stand up. Let's have a look.
Shall we?
Sure.
So we're going from a nice simple mid shot
Sure.
into a wide. And a lot of the time when people are starting out and learning to edit, they'll try and make things physically match across the cut. And I sometimes see this advised on editing tutorials. Please don't do that. The main reason for this is that when we're watching a film on the big screen, it takes our eyes usually somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 to 12 frames to actually process a new cut. So if you make things physically match across the cut, the movements will always appear to be 6 to 12 frames out. Let's have a little demonstration. So let's say I've got her exactly there. So she's just sort of slightly above the doctor and he's looking up at her. I'm going to make a cut there. Let's see if I can match the movement. Now we can't entirely based on the performance, but let's put her sort of in the same place, about there. Let's play that back.
Shall we?
I mean, it's, again, ignore the doctor. I know he's in a different space, but it's the woman's movement that counts. It is simply too fast. Now, if I actually just show you the incoming and outcoming shot, again, ignore him. The audience will be looking at her. She is pretty much in the same place, but it's playing way too fast.
Shall we?
And on a big screen, that would probably feel even worse. It will feel slightly out. So I'm going to undo that. And this would be my advised sort of edit point. On the outcoming edit, or the A side, I'm just going to make a trim there. And on the incoming edit, or the B side, I'm going to make a trim there. And if you actually look at them, she is in a very different place. She's standing up quite a bit on the left there. On the right, she's crouching down. So we're going to get a slight repeat of her movement. And you need that slight repeat so the audience's eyes have got time to catch up across the edit. And it will feel like a more smooth, natural movement. Let's have a look.
Shall we?
Sure.
And again, the audio can sometimes be sort of fooling us, so let's just adjust the audio, put that back. That's better. That does feel correct to me. Obviously, the amount of times I keep playing it back and forth, every edit's going to start to feel like it's failing. So be careful. One of my pieces of advice I always give to students is, when you go back and check an edit, after the third check, your eyes won't be able to tell if it's working or not. Move on to the next edit. After lunch, go back and look at it. You'd be surprised. It probably works.
Shall we?
That's better. It does now feel like she is properly standing up. The other one felt like it had a bit of a jump in it because I'd matched her body in exactly the same physical space. This is something that's worth reading in Pepperman's book, The Eye is Quicker. He talks about extending the cut. And when people's heads are moving from left to right or when they're standing up, you always want to add something like 3 to 6 frames on either side of the edit. You can do it on either side, it doesn't really matter. But in doing so, when it's played back on a big cinema screen or probably even on a big television at home, the audience's eyes have got time to adjust across the cut.